Hi guys, DCRS here, and I'll be doing another video today. This time with my second episode of Rants and Rollings. Today we'll be talking about strengths and weaknesses of cards. Not every card is unbeatable. Every card has their own weakness to them, even their own strength as well. For example, let's say these cards are actually quite powerful. Let's give one example. Dark Hole. Dark Hole is a very powerful card because it destroys all monsters on the field once it's played. It's a powerful card indeed, and limited to one at the moment on the ban list. Yeah, Dark Hole is a powerful card which destroys all monsters on the field. Powerful, isn't it? Yeah, and yeah. Okay, second card, Heavy Storm. What does it do? Well, it basically destroys all spell trap cards on the field, even your cards as well. So yeah, once you play those cards, you can basically destroy an entire field at hand. Even destroying your own monsters and spells and traps as well. Another card I like to give an example of is Super Polymerization. This card. This card is extremely powerful because it cannot be basically no effects can actually chain with it, chain or respond to its activation, because once it's activated, all effects are basically cannot be activated during the time it's played, but it requires a cost of discarding card. Yeah. Weaknesses of these cards are actually quite easy to understand if you know your counter cards. Basically, traps, spells. Those cards basically destroy the cards that once they activated. Example. Let's give a couple examples actually. Solemn. These cards actually can negate basically nearly every effect once it's activated. Also another one, Chain with Dark Hole and Heavy Storm, to basically negate their effects, is Starlight Road, which a lot of people know that when activated in response to a Dark Hole or a Heavy Storm, it will negate the activation and basically destroy it. Once it does that, you can summon the Starless Dragon afterwards. So yeah, that's a very powerful card. Another card that not many people know, and well, a lot of people actually know how to use Starlight Road properly. Basically, destroy the card that's destroying basically a lot of cards, more than 2 cards, and then summon Starless Dragon. But after that, after you use Starless Dragon's effect, it won't come back because it wasn't synchro summoned properly. Another card, instead of using Starlight Road, is this card, the Huge Revelation Zova. This card works in the same way as Starlight Road, except it does not summon Starless Dragon. It does something better. It indicates the card upon activation. So yeah, if two or more of your cards are destroyed, basically you can activate this card, and you can negate it and basically banish it after that's activated. So yeah, it's a very useful card against Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, and monster effects actually destroy more than 2 cards. Another good example of strengths and weaknesses are the hero. A lot of people know this. I've already said already. The hero monsters such as Acid and Absolute Zero. Absolute Zero and Acid, when in response to basically mass change Zero into Acid, basically nukes the field of your opponent's side of the field. A powerful combo, yet it's also not well. If you play it the right way, you can actually make the play unstoppable, almost unstoppable. But there's one way to actually stop these two upon when their effects activated. But the only effect you can't negate is probably Zeros, because it's mandatory. But you can actually find a way to actually get around that. I won't explain how, but since I know my rules around heroes, I wouldn't exactly say it out loud. Oh, that's my secret. And yeah. Acid is also another powerful one when played wisely. Not reason. Simple ways of defeating Acid and Zero as one, as easy as it goes. When they leave the field, for example, if you target them individually, it will be easy to defeat. But if you target them after the chain has been gone off, you can't stop them because you can't stop it because it's a resulting chain. Basically, I'll explain this is basically going to be a hero tutorial and how to negate the heroes in a way, but I won't explain how to negate the Acid-Zero combo. Well, actually, I might have explained it last time, but I don't really know. Anyway, to explain how to negate Absolute Zero's effect. Once it leaves the field, you gotta act immediately after it leaves the field. But if it's in the direct chain already, you can't stop it. But if it's on its own, basically if it's on its own chain of its own, basically once it leaves the field, once it leaves the field, basically, and no cards are actually in response to its effect. For example, like Mask Change or something like that, because it sends it to graveyard and summons a normal, so basically it's in a direct chain link itself. To negate Zero indefinitely after it leaves the field, you would chain basically the strong card. Basically the strong cards that actually can negate it. These two basically are one of the few ways of negating Zero's effect. But you gotta play it wisely, and you gotta have the right requirements to actually activate these cards. Otherwise, you're just gonna get killed no matter what from Zero. Same thing goes with Acid. Acid's also another powerful card, which you gotta be aware of. It's very, very strong to defeat Acid if it's used the right way. So play them white. Basically, when you're going up against powerful combo cards, basically I'm just going to use hero cards example because I have nothing other than that. Basically, it's a simple explanation of how to negate powerful cards. So I'm only going to use hero cards from today, I guess. Well, that's about it for this tutorial, I guess. Just remember, when you have to time it properly. If you know what your opponent's actually going to do, play Dark Hole or Heavy Storm or something like that, you gotta act immediately upon its activation. Otherwise, your field is basically gone. That's all I can say. It's gonna go no matter what. So think when you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, think smart and protect what your opponent's gonna do. This is my advice for today. So DCRS out.